Okay, let's have a look at questions 31 to 40. Which adjective collocates with value? You could have a think before you listen, right? Good value, great value. Like just kind of words you would expect to come together with value. Even if you're wrong, just having a guess makes you so much more aware of it when you're doing the test. Just, again, having a guess really, really helps. You might even be right, and it's really easy to catch. But even if you're wrong, it's been proven that you'll catch it much easier. So on these questions, it's very important to look for grammatical or kind of collocation hints that you might already know. For 32, after the comma, well, the grammar rule for this is, that means there's another adjective coming. So, because it's describing production models, a noun, okay? So, again, that's a kind of hint. You're listening for an adjective. For the next one, I would guess a word similar to like reuse, okay? Like recycling or reducing. And again, because we're in the theme of environment. Next, we can guess a percent or proportion here. So less than 34, proportion of something. So yeah, that's something we could guess here. Again, we don't know, but it's great to have a guess. For the next one, again, have a guess. I thought maybe reliable, okay? Reusable. Again, I promise that I didn't look at the answers before this. It's just having a guess, and it makes it so much easier to catch when you're listening. And for here, definitely a noun, okay? It starts with the vowel sound, okay? Because you see, the vowel sound un at 36, we know that it's going to be a singular noun after that. So again, all these little tricks just help you catch it easier when you're doing the listening test. And for 31 to 40, the first one, this one's not really easy. You have to listen carefully when you hear the word salts, okay? There's not a lot of grammatical hints for this one. This one, is quite tricky, but you do have to, focus in carefully after you hear the word salts and this, this topic. For 38, it could be a noun like resources. Listen for, solar farm, okay? Because that's the key word in this answer, so you have to listen for that. And for 39, key plus noun. So you see the word key, it could be key factor, key component. Again, I'm not sure, but it's something, it's a noun that'll go together with key. And again, these are just my guesses that I'll be listening for later. And for footprint, well, if you're kind of up on your environmental vocabulary, there are two words that collocate with footprint, right? I won't say what they are, but you should be having a think before. You might know the answer right now, okay? You could write them down in pencil, maybe the two words that collocate, for environment and footprint. Well, you could write them down now and just erase one later. All right, well, let's have a look at those answers. For question 31, you've got positive value. And here's the answer here. Overall, have a positive value for everyone. So there it is. Again, you're looking for a word that collocates with value. And in this case, it's a positive value. For question 32, you've got less damaging production models. And here it is. More sustainable, less damaging models of production. So that's the answer there for less damaging. And again, it's good to have a guess because even having a wrong guess, it will be much easier to catch it later. For question 33, we've got principally reclaiming and reusing, okay? Here it is in context. His innovative approaches to reclaiming and reusing the material. So again, you need to listen carefully. They do specifically say it, so you have to listen carefully for that one. Again, the words that come around it. For answer 34, well, 10%. We talked about how it's probably a proportion, okay? 300 million tons of plastic waste is created with less than 10% of this waste being recycled. So again, we knew we were listening for a percentage, and we caught it. You see the word, or you can hear the word recycled, and that way it's much easier to catch. For question 35 down here, you've got turn plastic waste into something valuable or usable, okay? And here it is here, to transform the plastic waste into valuable or at least usable products at home, okay? So those are the two words there that you'd have to catch, and you would have to catch both of them to get the answer for this one. Moving on to question 36, well, it's an online marketplace to sell them. Here it is in the context. Hackens has also made an online marketplace available for the sale of recycled goods. So that one, is quite, straightforward. You just have to make sure you catch and write down both words for this one. And for 37, you don't have to write down an ink, but you do have to write down ink. And again, we were listening for salts, right? So abundant salts, which are mixed to make an ink, and again, you could just write ink, that can be pressed into a very thin film, okay? A very thin film, is like something printed. So again, that's the answer for that one. And as we mentioned with the questions, you have to listen very carefully for what they're going to say with ink, in this context. For 38, it could be easily be transported to where needed most, okay? Here's the answer here. Will be so light that can easily be transported, okay? So that's the answer there. Easily transported is enough, but you could say easily be transported for the answer there. So again, you could write two words, again, easily transported or easily be transported. Both would be completely fine. And for question 39, again, there was a word we wanted to put in there, a barrier to renewable, okay? So one of the key barriers to the uptake of renewables by many consumers. So again, that wasn't an answer that you'd necessarily expect, but as you're listening, you're looking for, key, right? Again, that was the word. And what word would go with key? Well, in this case, it's a key barrier. And then you heard the word renewables. So hopefully you catch those two words, and then you catch the word barrier as well. And for 40, to cut down on the environmental or carbon footprint. Again, as a native speaker, this is an answer I knew straight away. But again, you might have studied a unit in your textbook on environment. And for sure, if it's a good textbook at all, carbon footprint or environmental footprint would have been there. And, you could have seen this question like, geez, I think I know it already, right? Because, you've seen this. These words collocate together. Carbon footprint, environmental footprint. There's no other words that collocate with footprint in the context of environment. So that one, I hope, you could finish the test with a nice, easy answer. Okay, so that's the end of the first listening test. I hope you did very well. If you didn't, again, my main tips are look at the questions very carefully before you listen. You will have some time. Underline words, look for grammatical hints, look for keywords, okay? Don't expect to hear the exact same words on the exam. The words might be different, so you have to be aware of that. So listen for, synonyms. Another key thing is referencing. They might mention something like, gun room, and then later say this room, okay? So that's another hint. They don't keep saying the same word again and again. It'll be gun room and then this room, or it could be person's name, right? And then he. So there's a lot of referencing tricks that go into listening, and you have to be careful when you're listening for the answer because it might come a little bit before, but most often after the first time it's mentioned.